Hello and welcome to the Tiny Human Knits podcast. My name is Laura. I'm a yarn dyer out of Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada, where I live with my boyfriend, our dog, our cat, and our rabbit. You can find me online as Tiny Human Knits on Instagram, Revelry, Etsy, and YouTube, and I will have links to all of my social media and everything else I talk about in the description box below. I am going to start off by saying I'm having a little bit of like a breathing difficulty today for no reason. I don't know why. I'm having a hard time getting a full breath in, so if I sound a little bit wheezy or out of breath, that's why. I haven't caught up with myself yet here, but I have tried to film this a few times already, and I keep being really stiff and awkward, and I'm not entirely sure why. I won't even speculate, but I'm hoping this is it. So I'm going to start right off the top. There. Perfect. Great. I'm not wearing any knitwear today because it's finally sunny outside today. We have had quite a bit of rain here. Not that I'm complaining. I really love that. It really helps me focus on work. I find if it's sunny outside, I feel like I should be outside enjoying it. But if it's raining and I can't go outside, then I'm like, oh, shucks, I'll stay inside and work. Which is great because I have been very, very busy the last little while with shop update stuff, which I will talk about at the end if you're interested. I'm having a shop update this Saturday at 1 p.m. Atlantic summertime, and it's a bit of a different update. There's only going to be one self-striping colorway in the shop. I just got something in my eye. So I'm trying to dye Dunder Knit Rainbow again. I have not fully successfully dyed Dunder Knit Rainbow since we moved to the East Coast, and I'm trying out a new way of dyeing it. Good. And hopefully it works out. I have to wind it up today, but fingers crossed. And if not, then you get a lot of factory seconds, which people really seem to like, which is great because I am very picky. I'm very picky, especially with how expensive self-striping is, for a reason, though, mind you. But yes, I'm very picky with the way colorways turn out. So if it doesn't turn out exactly the way I want it to, then there'll be a lot of factory seconds. This is not the point. I will talk about the update at the end of the episode if you're interested. But, like I said, I'm not wearing any knitwear. It's too warm. But I have 3 finished objects to talk to you about today. They're all the same thing. They're all socks. And they're all the finished socks of the ones I was working on in my last episode. And they are my Alphonse Mucha collection sock colorways, 3 of the 4 that I'm going to have. And yeah, that update is going to be at the end of August. Fingers crossed. So the first one is Winter 1896. And if you're interested in the inspiration paintings, I had them in my last episode if you missed that. And I will also be showing them on my Instagram over the summer and probably here again when I have the whole set figured out. But this is Winter 1896. And then we have Summer 1896. They were part of the same collection of paintings. And then we have the one I never actually figured out how to pronounce. This is based on a beer advertisement, and that's this one right here. So for anyone who might be new, I knit all of my socks the exact same way. I cast on 56 stitches with a twisted German cast on. I do 15 rows of 2x2 rib, and then I knit the leg as long as from the joint of my thumb and my index finger to the end of my index finger. It's what I know I like. It's the length that I like to wear. It's the easiest way to get an even amount. So if I'm knitting socks out of yarn that I haven't dyed, then that's usually how I measure it. And if it is my own sock yarn that I've dyed, when it's self-striping, if it's a 6-stripe colorway, I generally do 8 rows. And then with my winter one, it's a 5-stripe, so I did 9 rows. And then I do a heel flap and gusset, and I do a slip stitch heel with the garter bump edge. So it just makes it easier to pick up stitches. And I do that for 32 rows in total, so 16 garter ridges, and then I do the heel turn. And when I pick up stitches for the gusset, I always pick up an extra in the corner just to close up any gaps. and then I do my gusset decreases, and then from the bottom of the heel turn I do 74 rows in total before I start doing my toe decreases, and I just do a wedge toe. And that's how I do every single one of my socks. There's nothing different I ever do unless I'm doing a pattern sock, but I barely have time to knit those socks, so pattern socks I don't really have time for. But those are all my work, or all my finished objects. And I did not work on my travel mode baby blanket at all in the last 2 weeks. It wasn't sparking the joy as it should have been, but I should pick it up and finish it soon because I'm so close to being done, and I really want to send it to my nephew. Although who needs a blanket right now, especially a fully woolen blanket. But I did cast on a few projects in the meantime. I'm actually kind of surprised at the amount of work I've been able to get on these projects as well because I have been so busy. But I think it's just I'm trying not to look at my phone so much. I feel like that eats so much time. So when I'm not working, which is a lot, then I'm trying to like watch videos on my phone. Like I watch YouTube podcasts like crazy. Or I have things going where, you know, you can't look at your phone when you're doing that. But the first thing that I cast on in the meanwhile is another Sommer Souffle without the ruffle. This is a pattern by Laura Penrose, and it is absolutely gorgeous. She was wearing hers in her last episode that she posted, and it looks so good. I love the ruffle, but it's just not for me in the ways like because the last, I already made one of these, and that one I made with stripes, and I feel like that would have interrupted it a lot. And the one I'm making now is also stripes, and it's a thicker gauge, so I don't want to interrupt it with a ruffle either, and I wouldn't have enough yarn. Anyway, so this is a pattern by Laura Penrose. It is a summer top. She knit hers in 2 strands of knitting for olive cotton merino held together, and my original one is also that with the stripes added. But this time I am knitting it in yarn that I dyed a couple years ago. It's been in my stash for a while. I'm really excited to get it out of my stash. But they're based on the colors of this self-striping sock that I dyed a few years ago. This is Harvest. So after I dyed this colorway, I dyed myself 50 grams of each of the individual colors on my my 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon base, so 50 grams of each. And I already tried to knit this yarn into a project already, and it did not look great. It was way too big, and it wasn't going to be what I wanted it to be. So instead, I unraveled it then, and then it's been sitting in a bag again for like a year and a half. So this project looks a little bit rumply because it's been unraveled from a project that was already used in, and also it's been caked for like 2.5 years. So it doesn't look as pretty as it did, but so I've got a bag just full of these bits and bobs. But I cast on the Sommer Souffle in this yarn, and I am loving it so much. This is what it looks like, and again, it's fantastic. I have tried it on. It is exactly what I wanted it to be, and I just think it looks so great. And it's going to be so nice after blocking because, like I said, it's rumply, and it's been in a cake for 2 years, so it's kind of got that rough texture, but this is just going to smooth out so much when it's blocked. So I cast on, I did the 1x1 ribbing in reverse like I always do, and then turned it around, and then I'm doing 8 row stripes of each color, and I somehow managed to get the length of the yoke separated for sleeves exactly at a color change and exactly at the end of the color repeats, which is very exciting. And with this, I've done the calculations. I have even done like percentage calculations for the amount of sleeve stitches there are to the body to see if I'll have enough yarn, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have enough yarn in all of these colorways to do a full repeat of 2 full repeats of the colors. So the colors will repeat twice, and then I'm going to finish off the bottom of the sweater and then the rest of the sleeves in a color that's, I think, pale mushroom. I have some in my stash. I'm going to use that. It's very close to this, and I'm going to use that to do the cuffs. And I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to do a tapered sleeve or a balloon sleeve in this yet. I think I'll probably have to decide that after I finish the body. But I think it would be really cool either way. And yeah, this is really exciting because this is the only circular yoke I have, really. I mean, besides a Melody Hoffman Little Twigs, I think. Is it Little Twigs? Yeah. That one's really nice. Oh, I suppose the Twigs by Junko Okamoto is also a round yoke. I'm a liar. But this one I feel like fits the best. I really, really love this as a round yoke. And this has been great sort of mindless end of the day knitting, because all you're doing is knitting in the round. Even like you don't even have to do like a raglan increase situation. It's literally just an increase round every certain amount of distance. But it's turning out really, really nice. I can't wait to finish it. I'm obviously don't need it right now because it's summertime, and although it is supposed to rain the rest of the week, we'll see. But I'm not planning on finishing it like in a hurry, but I just think it looks so nice. And honestly, if this one works out, I might end up using this pattern as a template for a few things that I want to make. And it's a great way to get yarn out of your stash. Like, I'm kind of thinking, like, I know how much yarn each of these stripes use, but if I did like 6-row stripes, I would probably be able, like, if I ever got an advent calendar again, I could use an advent calendar to do stripes if it was 6 rows, because the widest row, I think this row here used 26-ish grams of yarn or something like that, because it's held double. Or if you did an advent calendar held with mohair, you could do this and it would look really, really cool. Oh, I'd like that a lot. One day when I can actually get an advent calendar again, because I either A, always miss them, or B, can't afford it. Anyways, that is my Summer Souffle by Laura Penrose, and it's going to be absolutely fantastic, and I'm very excited for it. I love stripes so much. Okay, so my next project, pardon me, is a pattern out of this book that was sent to me by Ewe Knit Toronto last month, I think. And it is a pattern book by the designer Claudia Quintanilla, and I've showed this last time. I'm sure a lot of you have seen it already. Maybe you're even a little bit bored by it. That's okay. They sent this to me along with some sets of yarn in celebration of their new book release, and then also their Cathedral Knit Along, which is this pattern right here. That started last Friday and is going to July 23rd. I have started this one, but I'm going to start with the first one that I cast on first. And that is the Kaleidoscope sweater, which is this one right there. It is so cute. And the reason I cast this on is because I had this set of yarn in my stash that I have been carrying around for at least 5 years, and I ordered it probably for a reason. I have no recollection of what that reason was. And it's an obscure amount of yarn, kind of. And it was in colors that aren't really the first things that I would gravitate towards. But what I had in my stash was this onion knit yarn, the number 4 organic wool and nettles. So it's a 70% organic wool and 30% nettle fibers. It's quite soft. And I have 6 of this brown color. They come in 50-gram balls, and it's about a DK weight, I think. So I had 6 of these, but then on top of that, I had 1 of each of these contrast colors. I don't know what I was gonna make with it. There's obviously something. I have no idea. And this pattern needs 3 contrast colors in only 50 grams. So I saw that they're the right weight, so I had to cast on. I am making this for my niece Mira, who is also going to be the recipient of the Cathedral sweater, because she deserves everything. And I am so excited by this. I have been jonesing for some color work, so I'm really excited to get to the point where this is going to be to the color work. It is a bottom-up sweater, so you start with the sleeves, you work those, and then you knit the body, and then attach the sleeves to the body. You could probably pretty easily modify it to be a top-down. Your color work would be a little bit different just because of the direction of the stitches, but you could definitely do that if you wanted to. And I haven't gotten very far. I've literally gotten this far on the first sleeve. And that's not very far. But I had to put it down to cast on the cathedral sweater. But I want to send both of these sweaters to Mira at the same time, so I'll probably finish this one after I finish the cathedral sweater before I cast on the cathedral adult sweater. But yeah, this yarn, honestly, like, it feels soft in the ball, but it's so much softer after you knit it. It is delightful. I'm enjoying it immensely. I know it's not very far, but like, I'm really enjoying knitting this just because it is so smooth. I am knitting the 4-year-old size in this. Mira is currently 2.5, but I'm going to be sending to her for the winter, so she'll be almost 3. That way she can wear it this winter, next winter, maybe even the winter after that would be nice. And yeah, I'm really, really enjoying it. I'm very excited to get to the color work, as I said, and I just need to work on that a little bit more. I'm going to have more time this weekend, I think, to do some just casual knitting, because I've done a lot of prep for my update, and then that always takes more time. Just like anything, the prep takes more time than the actual doing. But along with that, I've also cast on the cathedral sweater, child version. And that's in the yarn that Ewe Knit Toronto sent to me, which, my hair is on absolutely everything. Ugh, the perils of having long hair. This is in the yarn that they sent to me, which is the Rowan Kid Classic 70% wool, 22% mohair, 8% polyamide, which is this right here. It is a very, very fluffy yarn because of the mohair content. And it's also very, like, it's very bouncy. It's an interesting yarn to knit with just because it is so bouncy. But I'm a little further with this one because it is knit on 4.5mm needles. I have currently got my 2 sleeves finished, which are not the first sleeve, or yeah, it's not the first sleeve that I knit. I originally cast this on in the 4-year-old size because it's going to be for Mira and I wanted to fit her, same as the other one. I had gotten, I'd say probably about here on the first sleeve before I checked my gauge and realized that it was a little bit too tight and it was turning out to be more of a 2-year-old size. So I unraveled that. But before I did that, I did a lot of calculations as to how big, if I knit the 6-year-old size, would it turn out to be. And it turns out that it's going to be almost exactly the 4-year-old size. So I'm knitting it a bigger size on the same needles with a smaller gauge. And then when it comes to the yoke, I should be okay as well, because about 97% of the time, my stitch length is shorter than a pattern calls for. It's just the way that I knit. I've got a very short row gauge. And so the 6-year-old, the amount of stitches there is for that, it should calculate well for the 4-year-old size that will end up being. So I'm going to knit the 6-year size, but it's going to be the 4-year-old size. Long story short, math is good for you. Should practice it. So I've got 2 sleeves. And then I have got the body. And that is that right there. It's kind of on a cable that's too short because I like a tighter cable when I'm knitting in the round. So yeah, I've got to knit this to about 10 inches, maybe 11, I can't remember. I haven't looked at the pattern in a while because it's just basic knitting. And then I will be adding the sleeves and then doing the beautiful lace at the top of the sweater. And I'm really excited for that as well. This is very, very lofty yarn. I'm excited to see what it looks like when it's blocked, just because this yarn, I feel, for me, for my knitting style, is a little bit uneven, but I think that's just because of the fluffiness sort of attaches itself to the other strands that are happening at the same time. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this. I had just cast this on yesterday, and I'm probably after this gonna go sit back out on my deck and roast and knit this a little bit more. and I'm enjoying it a lot. It's been really nice just to knit something small and fun and cute and something you know it's going to be done like right away. There's something very satisfying about kids' garments, which is why I keep making them. So yeah, that's in the making memories, and they're having the knit along right now. Like I said, if you join, there's a Google form, and I added it to my last episode, but I'm gonna add it again. If you are entering this, there's a Google form you can enter, and it puts you into the not a giveaway, but the prizes. Their prizes are going to be a $100 gift card for the Ewe Knit Toronto shop. There's going to be 3 of those, and I'm pretty sure it's still happening right now. But if you add the project to your Ravelry page, if you're joining in, I think there's still a giveaway for a $500 gift card for Ewe Knit Toronto. So you don't even have to like go to any Ravelry groups or fill out the form. I think it's if you just add it to your project page, and obviously don't do it if you're not going to knit it, but like I think that's an actual giveaway. But yeah, that is what I'm working on, and I'm going to do something a little bit different than I normally do. I'm going to have a little bit of an acquisitions because I have a few that I want to share. I don't normally do acquisitions, but I got some yarn in the mail. I talked about it in my last episode. Pretty sure I mentioned it, but I'm going to be knitting a vest for my boyfriend for Christmas, and I can't remember if I showed it last time, but here we are. It is the Fall River Vest by Mary Jane Mucklestone, and I love it so much. I want to knit Colourwork so bad, and this one I haven't made my boyfriend a vest. He's got 7 sweaters, 3 cardigans, and 4 pullovers, but I've never knit him a vest. So I'm going to do that. And I loved the colors in this version so much that I just ordered the exact same colors. I got a few that might be able to be switched in that are a little bit more blue, but I'm very happy with the colors that are in this one. And it is knit in Jamieson's Shetland Spindrift, which is this right here. So this is what I got in the mail. And they're 25-gram balls, and I've never used this yarn before, and I've always really wanted to because I've heard people talk about it so much. So it'll be really nice to try it. And yeah, I got literally the exact same colors, which is going to be really nice when it comes to knitting it because the instructions are for each color, so it'll be very easy. And yeah, I'm very excited. I want to cast this on right away, but I know I don't have time for that because after I knit the Cathedral Child sweater, I want to finish the Kaleidoscope, and then I want to knit the Cathedral adult size for Mira's mom, and then I also want to knit Mira's dad a sweater because I'm crazy like that. But I'm just really excited about this. And this also has something I've never done before, which is steeking, because the neck hole, I said this last time, the neckband and the armholes are steeked, which I'm really excited by that. I've never done it before. It's great to do, you know, this seems a little less like, I don't know. This seems like it would be a better project to do it on. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it doesn't have sleeves, which is ridiculous because like it's the same process because you knit the sleeves. Oh, you get it. But yeah, I've already done, I'm kind of cheating, and it might come back to bite me in the butt, but I have knit a hat in Jamieson and Smith, I think, which is like the exact same specs as the Jamieson's Shetland Spindrift, and my gauge is like perfect. I'll probably start it and then check my gauge excessively just to see. Anyway, this is knit. This was published in Interweave Knits Fall 2016. I'm sure you can find it online as well. I'll have it linked below if you need it. My second acquisition is a gift that I actually got from my cousin Jennifer. She sent it to me in the mail when I was absolutely not expecting it, which was quite funny. I was looking very suspiciously at the delivery man when he pulled up in my driveway last weekend. Because I was making myself my coffee and this guy stops in front of my house and I'm like, why are you here? And then he drops something off on the deck, which is not normally where people drop off parcels. But anyway, and then I opened it and it was this book. And I got it because my cousin had mentioned it before, or kind of mentioned something that she wanted to send me. And this made sense. So it is the Creepy Cross Stitch book, and I have seen this book before. I'm pretty sure Maria of Cozy Goth on Instagram and Knitting in the Dark on YouTube has this book, and I'm pretty sure she was making some before. Or if she doesn't have this book, she should have this book. But it's incredibly cute. It is absolutely full of like adorable creepy cross stitch, and the one I want to make first, I think, is this one here. Because that dog on there reminds me of Gus, our yellow lab. And I really want to put this by the door, so it's like the first thing you see when you come in, and I'm pretty sure I already have a frame for it. But it's just so beautiful. They're all so cute. There's hardly any in here that I wouldn't make. And I just also really love the frames that this person has done them in. Look at the ghost cat. So cute. But yeah. Creepy cross stitch. And one more, just one more acquisition. And this is purely because it thrills me to bits. Is so cute. So I went to the craft college here in Fredericton a while ago to do a little knitting lesson for someone who I think works there. And I saw a shelf of pottery for sale and I bought some. And I got 2 of these mugs because they are the cutest thing I've ever seen. And I bought 2 for my mother-in-law because she has a strawberry themed kitchen. And also, besides that, I have started a new quilt that has strawberries on it for her. I can't show it because it's in like no way. There's no way to show it because it's in pieces. I'll put a picture up here of what it's going to look like, the pattern anyway. My version will be different. But I'm going to send her these to go with it because why not? But this ceramicist is an exceptionally delightful person because I got to meet her last Thursday at the Fredericton Night Market. She was selling her wares there, and I bought another bowl and mug because in the same pattern because I love them. Her name is Kat Neely, and this is her information. I'll also link it down below. She's super cute, and the reason we went to the night market, I wanted to find her and buy some more of her pottery. And then also, I propositioned her with the idea of an exchange of pottery for a hand-knitted sweater. And she seemed very enthusiastic about it, so I'm very enthusiastic about it. So I might be knitting her a sweater to go and exchange for some mugs and plates and things. So that was very exciting. She was really sweet, and it was really, really nice to meet her, and I'm trying to be more, you know, proactive in my own life. You know what I mean? I think that is it for now. I am going to move on to do a little bit of shop update news, so if you're not interested in that, that is absolutely fine. But I am going to be having a shop update this Saturday at 1 p.m. Atlantic Summer Time, and I'll also be having an update next Saturday at 1 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time. Next Saturday is going to be the full Lord of the Rings Two Towers sock sets, and then just whatever is left over is random skeins, but that's what that one will be. But this Saturday is going to be a bit of a different update. I keep getting something in my eye. I've gone a bit crazy with the rainbows, actually. So I'm going to have the Dunder Knit Rainbow colorway, but then on top of that, I'm going to have, sorry for the crinkling, I'm going to have these rainbow mini sets. And these were dyed for funsies, essentially. So it is 12 20-gram minis, and they're the fingering weight, 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, about 80 yards per mini skeins. And they sort of match, they're not entirely the same, but they sort of match, oh, jeepers, losing my lashes. My Gartrell crew, which I dyed and knit up last year. They're kind of halfway based on this. And the reason I dyed the mini sets is because I was also dyeing the Gartrell sets. So, they're sort of kits, but not really, because I don't want to call them kits because that implies every size can make them, and no, they cannot. This is how much I used for my sweater. I had leftovers of each one, like more than I used less than 50 grams of each color, but some of them not very much. But so this is a Gartrell set. It has the 12 colors with some modifications, 12 colors that are in the Gartrell crew. So the ones that I have changed is this one right here instead of this, wrong side. Instead of this purple, I've done a darker version of the black cherry, which is called Dusty Plum. And then I've also changed the blues. There wasn't as much contrast in my version as I think would be best. So like right here, the contrast isn't that high. So I've just lightened this one up a little bit. But then essentially the rest are almost exactly the same. And yeah, so I've got 12 times 50 grams of each tweed DK. And you can either knit your own or use it for something entirely different. And then on top of that, I also have my potatoes Gartrell set, which is the Gartrell that I finished a couple months ago. And this is just a set of all 6 of those colors to knit your own. And I had to name them, so some of them, their names are a bit funny because I hadn't really named them before. But I just want to point out, this is something, just in case, it's something that was on my Gartrell as well. These 2 colors are very similar because they have the same sort of base. This is a little bit more of a bluey green, and this one is more of a yellowy green. And I just wanted to point that out. They're not the same color. I remember when I was knitting my Gartrell, if it was ever dark, I had to turn my flashlight on to see the difference between the 2 cakes, just because tonally they're exactly the same. But yeah, just to point that out, in case that was an issue at all. But yeah, those are what's going into the shop, as well as I might have some random things that have just been on my shelves for a while, just as like a clearance-y type situation. But that's what's going to the shop. Again, Saturday at 1 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time. There won't be much of either or each of the sets, just because the space that I have is not conducive to bulk dyeing. It's kind of okay with the self-striping, but when it comes to like stovetop dyeing, it's a bit more cumbersome. So if you're interested in any of those, pick them up right away. Or if I do run out of any of them, I'll probably dye them again, just because I don't want anyone to miss out. But I think that's everything today. I hope you are all having a pretty good week, and hopefully it's not smoky anymore anywhere you are. It's weird to see all of the smoke problems that people have been having pretty much all over North America, and to be in a place that's not smoky, that's not what I'm used to. I'm usually right in the thick of it, but it's been quite nice, although wet. But hopefully you're all having a wonderful time, and I will see you in my next episode where I hopefully have a bunch of finished kids' garments. So, see you next time.